All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Jamie, and I'm the Residential Education Manager. Thank you so much for being here. We're really excited to share with you what we have been working on during this time. And we've been really lucky that we were able to keep some of our staff on, to have staff to be able to work towards our programs and help to rejuvenate some of the programs that we are working on. So I am going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay, can everyone see a black screen? Great. So during the early fall, when we knew that school groups weren't going to be able to come to campus, we knew that we wanted to be able to still reach our Frog in the Bog teachers and for those students to be able to have some type of experience similar but not necessarily similar and still get some of the same factors that they would get had they been able to come to Dunes Learning Center. And we spent a lot of time thinking about how we could best do this. So when we have naturalists and when we have school groups, we often talk about how we wish that we could take our programs and what we're teaching a step further while we're out on trail. But oftentimes we find that we are covering introductory concepts and topics with the students. We even offer teacher kits to the students or to the teachers, but only 30% of our groups use those. So we wanted to create a program that would help those teachers prepare their students for when they're coming to programs on site, but that what they could also use virtually right now. And we wanted to be something that could easily be implemented. So really hoping to bridge the gap in between students that are coming on site and our educators in what we're teaching during Frog in the Bog. And so how did we get there? We used a lot of creative collaboration. As you can see on our boards, our whiteboards and our chalkboard, we spent a lot of time working, brainstorming, thinking about how we could best use this. We had long days. We had some pizza parties, times where we were outside brainstorming, and we decided that we wanted to focus on the ecosystem aspect of Frog in the Bog and hitting some key standards for our 4th and 5th grade students. It was really imperative that we were able to keep some of our naturalists to be able to work on this program. I know that we wouldn't have been able to get as far as we did without them. And I'm really grateful for their brain power and their creativity to get to where we have gotten. Anthony, our chief naturalist, he did an excellent job at leading us in different brainstorming sessions to kind of figure out what direction we wanted to go. Nate, our senior naturalist and first source fellow, he did a great job of thinking about the program in different aspects and critically thinking about challenges we came across. And then Kayla, our Karamita fellow, she became a tech whiz and navigated the technical side of the program, which was really helpful. So enough about how we got there. I'm going to stop sharing and I am going to hand it over to Nate.
Great. Thanks, Jamie. I'm going to start off by sharing my screen. And if I can just get a thumbs up if you can see the screen and you can hear me well before we get started. Great. So with the uncertainty of having school groups on site, the naturalist team took on the challenge. We took on the challenge of eliminating the barrier between us and the students by creating a virtual immersive program that would introduce them to the sites and the areas of the Indiana Dunes that they would be hopefully visiting in the future in a fun, interactive, low, minimal effort program. So with that, we wanted to create a virtual experience that would both strengthen and serve as a gateway to our current Frog in the Bog programs so that students can build, as we all know, that stronger connection and sense of belonging to not only the Indiana dunes, but the natural world around them. So in order to do this, as Jamie said, we took a lot of time to use that creative collaboration and our discussions, our pizza party, and our time just to research and look for a virtual platform that could accommodate what we were looking for in creating that immersive experience. And through that planning, we discovered that Google Earth is what I'm sharing right here is the best platform to use because first off, it's both easily accessible with the click of a link that we can just send to teachers, um, and in addition, user friendly. So we spent a lot of time working on that, and this is the result. So with the click of a button, we're transported to our open beach ecosystem located at West Beach. Ooh, it looks like I I accidentally shared the post visit. So give me 1 second. Gotta love technical difficulties. So we have we'll jump back to our open beach ecosystem, where there you put into a first person view of our beautiful beach. And with this, you can look around in a 360-degree view. If you want to look closer, you can zoom in to look at the sand. You can even look up at the sky and get all of those observations. Now, just looking at this, doesn't this make you just want to take your shoes off, feel the sand underneath your feet? You can walk along the shore and observe and learn more about this ecosystem. So from there, after you're making these observations, you can follow the prompts that we provide that provide ways to observe the local ecosystems and introduce students to them. You can jump from your open beach all the way to our four dune ecosystem, and you start off at the base of a sand dune, which you can climb and navigate up, and you can look at all the marram grass and our oak trees, making observations about how there are more plants, as we naturally do when we take our groups out to these locations. And in addition, get a wonderful view of our open beach and Lake Michigan. So this experience, first off, gets kids excited to come. And on top of that, it makes them feel a little more comfortable and more familiar with the areas that they are going to be exploring. So that is a little summary of our pre-visit Google Earth platform that we experienced, which is the first part of our Frog in the Login series. And now I'm going to hand it off to Anthony, who's going to be talking about our second virtual program.
Yeah, thanks, Nate. So building on that immersive experience that Nate had talked about in our pre-visit, we wanted to create a program that continued that immersive experience, but we also seen that there was a need to reach our audience virtually during this time, and then as we start to transition into going back into doing like in-person programs, we needed a program that was flexible enough that we could do both right now and then still exist as we start to transition into doing in-person programs. And trying to find a platform for that it just didn't exist in order to like meet our expectations that we had when we were creating this program. So we did, like I'm sure we all are familiar with as a naturalist, is we dug deep into our toolbox and we started, looking at what we had resource-wise available to us. And what we found was that collectively between all of our, staff that we had the resources and the knowledge, but most importantly, we had the work ethic to create what we wanted. And this is what came of it. So Creature Feature is done on Google Sites. And what it is it's a website that takes you through pages, kind of like a clue game. So in this, we're meeting 4th and 5th grade standards, I'm sure as you're aware of, teaching about the local organisms and ecosystems. And in this activity, they're looking for information about this mythical creature. So as you can see here, it gives you a little bit of a background. And then the story starts off that you're hiking at the beach and you find this journal, this field guide. And, you start to notice that it's called The Lost Creatures of the Indiana Dunes. And you start to flip through the pages and you see all these mythical creatures. But oh no, all of a sudden, there's a page missing. And you learn that this page belongs to a salamander. And your responsibility now is to find where does salamander fit into the food chain, and then what 3 adaptations does salamander have, and what ecosystem does salamander live. And to do this, you go on this journey where you're exploring the different parts of the different ecosystems at the Indiana Dunes. And we start a video kind of as an introductory to teach about that ecosystem, and then they answer some questions about it, and then they can explore the ecosystem. So I'm going to play the first video for you guys.
My name is Kayla and I am a naturalist with the Dunes Learning Center. Welcome to West Beach, which is one of 8 beaches in the Indiana Dunes National Park. These open beach ecosystems can be found along the 15 miles of Lake Michigan shoreline, which is here within the Indiana Dunes National Park.
Ever wonder why there's not many plants or animals at the open beach? Sand and harsh conditions make life really hard. Here's one organism you may see visiting the open beach for food. The ring-billed gull has webbed feet to swim and wings that help it fly long distances. These gulls are omnivores, so they eat both plants and other organisms. They're also very opportunistic, which means if they see food, they will try to go after it. Ring-billed gulls can eat fish, insects and bugs, garbage, and food that is discarded or even unguarded by people who visit the beach. But the open beach by itself cannot support the ring-billed gull because food can be hard to find. Organisms that call this ecosystem home must be adapted to extreme temperatures, bright sun, and high wind conditions. This limits a lot of life.
The mighty duo of wind and water continually shape the open beach ecosystems and characterize this ecosystem by its open stretches of sand and its lack of plant life.
Cool. So as you can see, it gives them an introductory to some parts about the open beach ecosystem. And then that kind of drives the message home as to like what's important by playing this game. So I'd like to play the game. Feel free to unmute yourself. I feel like we're all adults probably at this point, that feel free to unmute yourself. And I'm just going to answer some questions and we're going to play this game together. So let's start off with what picture helps a ring-billed gull swim in water?
The feet.
Thank you, the feet. Great. And what picture is a picture of an omnivore? Anybody?
Meat and asparagus.
Thank you, Jeff. And then the last picture, which one helps a ring-billed gull travel long distances?
Wing.
Thank you, the wings. Great. And as you can see, once they complete the game, a clue pops up that helps them narrow down where the salamander fits on the in the field guide. So they get these clues. As we continue, we have a picture now. So part of, as you know, our programs is about the mystery and the exploration and the curiosity. So we wanted to include that part of our programs here as in the Frog on the Login. So what we did was we have this picture where you can click on different parts of the picture and learn about some different things. So here we're learning about the sand and being very porous and passes through the water very quickly. When we click on this one, we gather more about tracks that we find in the sand, and then we gather another clue. So salamander does not live at the open beach. And when we take all this information, we can go up here to our Naturalist Notes tab, and you can see that here is our document for students to keep track of all the different clues that they find. So they're putting in, not at the open beach. They're putting in that it doesn't have scales, all that kind of stuff. And as they progress through the site and they gather all these clues, once they can finally complete all the clues, they'll click the submit here to fill in the salamander page. And this is where they will enter their information into that final document in order to see what salamander looks like. So I've already filled one of these in for us. And once you submit your answers, you'll get this page. Here you can submit it and you'll get a link that then takes you to our page here. And here you can see Mari, who's in attendance with us tonight. And you get to look at what a salamander looks like, and you get to learn more about what a salamander is. And then students can get a certificate as well. And then there's links to more of our stuff. So we wanted to offer that flexibility in our program, but as you all know, we are always striving to try to take those lessons further with kids and make more of an impression on them. And that's where our post-visit activity came up. And I'm gonna stop sharing and pass it to Kayla.
Thanks, Anthony. All right, can everyone see my screen? Perfect. Awesome. So with our mission, of course, being to inspire lasting curiosity and stewardship of nature, that doesn't just stop here at the Indiana Dunes. It also extends beyond into the country, into the world. So with our program, Frog in the Bog, and now our Frog on the Login, we really wanted to further deepen students' connections from the ecosystems here in the Indiana Dunes National Park to other ecosystems around the country. And we really just wanted to bring everything full circle from the pre-visit to the ending conclusion, our post-visit. So to accomplish this goal, we once again utilized Google Earth to not only serve as a recollection of the pre-visit, but also to then map new locations to parallel ecosystems from the dunes. But to tell the stories of these new ecosystems, we wanted to have a really significant connection with them. And we realized that we have some awesome resources that we could use. And so we had this resource in the form of our naturalist alumni who have gone on to do some awesome things in amazing places and still support our mission of inspiring curiosity and stewardship of nature. And so that just really goes to show that, we're not only creating environmental stewards of our area, but also of the country and the world. So with our 5 main staple ecosystems here, we were able to then match to 5 different alumni naturalists all around the country, and they were willing and really excited to volunteer and share with us a video of them just sharing their ecosystem that they are now in, and we were able to use this video within our post-visit program. So I'm going to show you that right now. Can everyone still see my screen? Perfect. Awesome. Okay, so like the pre-visit, we still introduce the students to our ecosystem here within the Indiana Dunes National Park. So here we're at the open beach of West Beach, but then to then make a comparison and a contrast to somewhere else in the country, we then fly to a different part of the country. And for example, here with the open beach, we end up at another open beach, but this time in Port Angeles, Washington. So then here the students get to watch a video submitted by our naturalist alumni and then be able to make some really awesome comparisons and contrasts. In addition to test and engage that knowledge that they've learned and that understanding, we've also created some questionnaires for each grade level, 4th and 5th, for them to have some guided questions that allow them to make those connections between the different ecosystems. So that just really kind of sandwiches the whole program from the pre-visit to creature feature, or that in-person experience with Frog in the Bog, to then really conclude that whole program experience. But now I'll turn it back over to Jamie to kind of wrap everything else up.
So yeah, as you can see, we had a lot of different ideas. We struggled at times to put those ideas together and figure out exactly what we wanted, but came up with our introduction, our middle activity of creature feature, and then our post activity. And this is, we designed it for students to be able to do completely on their own, or we can lead them on an hour-long live version with that creature feature activity. And it was really great to have the support of different people throughout this process. Are there any questions? Okay, I'm gonna stop recording.